Even Tor was funded by DARPA. Probably secure isn't good enough. You are building a tool to hide money from the US government. Would you set up shop in the same town as the CIA? Would you partner with the Israeli cybersecurity firms, tech coin company actively cooperating with intelligence agencies? In the world of privacy, uncertainty is a fatal flaw. So recently we have all witnessed the Zcash demand and hype on CT and on the charts. But I noticed a pattern that made me and should make you uncomfortable about Zcash. And the pattern goes like this. Monero's founder hunted down by Interpol. Tornado Cash developers imprisoned. Their crime? Building a tool that mixed Ethereum transactions. Silk Road Ross Ulbricht received a double life sentence plus 40 years with no possibility of parole. Samurai Wallet founders arrested by Fed agents in coordinated international operation. And then there is Zuko Wilcox, founder of Zcash, a previous coin, still free, still tweeting, still speaking at conferences, still running a multi-million-dollar company from an office at Chainbridge Road, McLean, Virginia. But this isn't the shocking part. The question is, how far is that from CIA headquarters? The answer is 6 minutes. Not 6 minutes metaphorically, 6 minutes by car. In the same town, in the same corporate corridor where defense contractors and intelligence agencies rent office space. Perhaps it's just affordable real estate. Perhaps. But when you are building a cryptocurrency meant to hide financial transactions from governments and your office is a 6 minute away from Langley, well, the curious retailer might ask questions. So I started to dig deep into this myth. Is Zcash a privacy coin or just a tool being used by the MOSSAD and the government for surveillance? And trust me, you have to know these details if you are considering Zcash for your financial security and freedom. Or even if you are a normal person, this will open your eyes, as I was shocked to know these facts. So let's rewind to the beginning, because with Zcash, the beginning isn't what you'd expect. Bitcoin was born from an anonymous creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. No investor, no company, no government grants, just code posted to a cryptography mailing list and a dream of financial sovereignty. Monero? Similar story. Launched Fairy in 2014. No pre-mine, no CEO, no venture capital, just a community of privacy advocates building something they believed in. While Zcash began with money. Lots of it from very specific sources. The foundational research behind Zcash, originally called Zerocoin, then Zerocash, wasn't funded by anonymous cypherpunks. It was funded by DARPA, Air Force Research Lab, the Office of Naval Research, the Israeli Centers of Research Excellence, and the Israeli Ministry of Science and Technology. Read that list again. The Pentagon, the US Air Force, the US Navy, the Israeli government, these are the institutions that paid for the cryptographic research that would eventually become the foundation of a privacy coin. Now, defenders will say that's normal. Lots of cryptographic research is government based. Even Tor was funded by DARPA. And they're right, it's normal. What's not normal is when the government funded privacy research turned into a for-profit company that markets itself as a tool to defy the very surveillance state that bankrolled it. The US military intelligence complex that runs PRISM, XKeys Core, and mass dragnet surveillance programs doesn't typically fund technologies designed to stop surveillance, unless, of course, it's not designed to stop surveillance at all. Now, let's move on and talk about the people who built this thing. Dr. Aaron Tromer was one of the Zcash founding scientists, brilliant cryptographer, conducted his research at Tel Aviv University with grants from Israeli government institutes. Now, Israel's tech sector is famous for one thing above all others. It's dominated by the veterans of elite military intelligence units, particularly Unit 8200, Israel's equivalent of the NSA. Is Dr. Tromer a member of Unit 8200? That's not public information, but here is what is public. Dr. Tromer later co-founded a crypto security company called GK8, and sitting on GK8's advisory board alongside him, Lan Levinan, explicitly identified as a former head of cybersecurity for an Israeli intelligence unit. A direct business partnership, not speculation, not conspiracy theory, documented fact. Now, in Israeli tech, this isn't unusual. Intelligence backgrounds are everywhere. Checkpoint Software, one of the world's largest cybersecurity firms, was founded by Unit 8200 alumni. Dr. Tromer's research was even conducted at Tel Aviv University's Checkpoint Institute for Information Security. The ecosystem is interconnected by design. But here's the uncomfortable question. When you are building a privacy coin a tool meant to hide financial transactions from the agencies. Is it wise to have founding architects who are professionally entangled with those very same agencies? One more thing. Zcash's partnership with JP Morgan in 2018 to integrate zero-knowledge proofs into corporate banking. That project involved an Israeli company called QED-IT, led by, you guessed it, Unit 8200 alumni. Maybe it's just that Israeli cryptographic researchers are way ahead of us, or maybe the lines between the privacy technology and the intelligence infrastructure are more blurred than we would like to admit. Now we need to talk about Zcash's original sin. To understand this, you need to know that Zcash's privacy relies on something called ZK snarks, zero-knowledge proofs that hide transaction details while proving they are valid. Brilliant technology, genuinely cutting edge. But there is a catch. When Zcash launched in October 2016, it required something called a trusted setup ceremony. Here is how it works. A master secret key, often called toxic waste, is generated. This key is then split among a small group of participants. The system's integrity depends on this toxic waste being permanently destroyed. If even one participant kept their portion of the secret key, they would possess a master key to create unlimited amount of ZEC, completely undetectable, potentially undermining the privacy guarantees of the whole Zcash system. Now, who were these trusted participants? Zcash company insiders, 6 of them. And as revealed years later, Edward Snowden under the pseudonym John Dobertin. Now, Snowden's participation could be read in 2 ways. A. Snowden, the NSA whistleblower, helped secure the ceremony against the intelligence agencies. His involvement proves it's legitimate. Or B. A former CIA, NSA participated in the most sensitive cryptographic ceremony of a privacy coin, and we are just supposed to trust that everything's fine. Gregory Maxwell, a renowned cryptographer, flatly called Zcash trusted setup a backdoor with no way of proving it has been disabled. Bitcoin developer Peter Todd was also participating in the ceremony, noticed that one compromised computer or insider could undermine the entire process. Even an independent 2017 audit could only conclude that compromise was highly unlikely, not impossible. And here's the thing, you can never prove that the toxic waste was destroyed. You just have to trust. Trust the same person connected to government funding. Trust the same ecosystem linked to Israeli intelligence. Trust the company headquartered 6 minutes from CIA headquarters. Are you feeling trusting yet? But wait. What about the actual usage? Here's the strange fact. If Zcash is such a privacy tool, why doesn't the people who need privacy use it? In Zcash's early years, only 1 to 5% of transactions were shielded. The vast majority were transparent, traceable, just like Bitcoin. Even by late 2025, after nearly a decade of development, only about 30% of Zcash transactions involve the shielded pool. But here's the really damning part. Criminals don't use it. A 2020 Rand Corporation study commissioned by the electric coin company itself found that Zcash had no evidence of widespread illicit use. Only 0.17% of cryptocurrency crime volume was in Zcash. Darknet markets, they also accept Bitcoin and Monero, almost never Zcash. The Lazarus Group, North Korea's elite hacking unit, never uses Zcash, only Monero. Even the shadow brokers, the hacker group that leaked NSA cyber weapons, publicly questions Zcash in 2017. They referenced Zcash's known ties to DARPA and other US military agencies and Israel. And then, despite their suspicions, they still accepted Zcash as payment for leaked data. Why would adversaries of the NSA use a coin they suspected were compromised? Because they knew something we are still figuring out. If you're going to get caught anyway, it doesn't matter which coin you use. But if Zcash actually provided privacy from surveillance, wouldn't the surveilled use it? Let's talk about something even more revealing. Who gets arrested and who doesn't? Monero, delisted from exchanges in Japan, South Korea, and Australia. Banned across multiple EU jurisdictions. Founder hunted by Interpol. Tornado Cash, developers arrested, charged with money laundering. One founder still imprisoned in the Netherlands. US Treasury sanctioned the protocol itself. Samurai Wallet, founders arrested in coordinated FBI operation, charged with conspiracy to commit money laundering. While Zcash, still listed on Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, all the US regulated exchanges. And founder Zuko holds meetings with the Treasury officials, allegedly White House staffers. Electric Coin Company commissioned a study from the RAND Corporation, a defense think tank historically tied to the US Air Force and the intelligence community. No arrest, no sanctions, no regulatory repercussions. Why? The official answer: Zcash has optional transparency. You can use it privately, but you can also use it publicly. And then there are view keys that allow selective disclosure for audit. Regulators love this. It's a privacy with an escape hatch, privacy with compliance built in. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Privacy with a built-in backdoor isn't privacy. It's surveillance with better marketing. And now there is one more thing we need to understand: how Zcash maintains the reputation. Because despite all of this, the government funding, the intelligence connections, the trusted setup, the lack of criminal adoption, Zcash still markets itself as a privacy coin. How? Through a sophisticated, well-funded propaganda campaign. In last few months, Zcash experienced an explosive rally. 8x price increases in 6 weeks, from $50 to over $700. Suddenly, Twitter was flooded with Zcash advocates, giveaways, memes, influencer endorsements, while economist Lynn Alden warned the rally felt artificial and cautioned investors about becoming exit liquidity for the coordinated pump. Tech investor Naval Ravikant countered, tweeting, "Transparent crypto won't survive a government crackdown." This public debate drew massive attention. But when you look closer at the social media activity, suspiciously uniform talking points across accounts. All tweets form a pattern around October 1 to October 20. Community ambassador programs paying users to promote Zcash. Is this organic? And here's the kicker: the Electric Coin Company has a marketing budget, a PR team, a corporate partnerships, and professional video production. Monero has none of that. Just a community of volunteers and a donation-funded development model. So why does Zcash, a coin criminals won't touch, would use a PR machine to convince you that it's something it's not? Okay, now let's be fair, because if we're doing real investigation, we have to consider the other side, the defense of Zcash. Edward Snowden participated in the ceremony to help protect it from the intelligence agencies, not compromise. Professor Matthew Green of Johns Hopkins, a vocal critic of NSA surveillance, helped design Zcash. He's not exactly an NSA stooge. The 2022 Halo 2 upgrade eliminated the need for trusted setups going forward. New shielded tools don't have the toxic waste problem. Zcash is open source. Anyone can audit the code. If there was a backdoor, someone would have found it by now. In these 9 years, government funding of cryptography is normal. Even Tor, the privacy network used by the activists and journalists worldwide, was initially funded by DARPA and the US Navy. And yes, the tech is by far the superior one. These are fair points and they deserve consideration. But here's the thing about trust in privacy world. It has to be absolute. When you are hiding financial transactions from a surveillance state, let's come back to where we started. Chainbridge Road, McLean, Virginia. 6 minutes from the CIA. Now maybe that's just where they found affordable office space. Maybe it's pure coincidence. But let me ask you something. If you were building a tool to hide money from the US government, would you take millions in the funding from the Pentagon? Would you partner with the Israeli cybersecurity firms run by intelligence veterans? Or would you do what Satoshi did? Disappear. Would you do what Monero does? Reject all institutional ties and stay underground? Would you do what every other privacy developers does? Run. So here is what we know for certain. Zcash foundational research was funded by DARPA, the US Air Force, and the US Navy, and the Israeli government. Key architects have documented professional partnerships with former Israeli intelligence cybersecurity leaders. Zcash's original design required a trusted setup, a potential backdoor that can never be proven. Criminals, hackers, and darknet markets, the people who need privacy most, overwhelmingly reject Zcash and use Monero. Every founder of actual privacy technology is either in prison or in exile, except Zilcox. And here is what we don't know. Is there a working backdoor in Zcash's cryptography? Did any participant in the trusted setup keep their portion of the toxic waste? And the most important one, is Zcash a deliberate honeypot designed to identify privacy seekers? We can't prove any of that. But we don't have to, because in the world of privacy coins, the burden of proof isn't on the skeptics, it's on the coin itself. Bitcoin earned trust through anonymity and decentralization. Monero earned trust through uncompromising privacy and relentless regulatory persecution. Zcash asks you to trust. A for-profit company, participants with intelligence connections, founder who meets with regulators, find that criminals won't touch. So let me ask you directly. Would you bet your freedom on Zcash? Would you use it to move money if your life depended on staying hidden? I can't tell you that Zcash is compromised, but I also cannot tell you it isn't. And in the world of privacy, uncertainty is a fatal flaw. We have seen the evidence. Choose wisely.